When the Punch-Out game was originally released for the Nintendo game console in 1987, it was considered a massive success, but was known for being arguably the most difficult NES game ever made. In the years and decades since, such a fact has been mentioned countless times, but the speculative scenario is this: why was the NES Punch-Out so notoriously difficult? Originally titled Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, took advantage of the popularity or appeal of American boxer Mike Tyson at the time, with the game being praised by both critics and those who had played it. Despite the game being limited by the technology of the era, Nintendo made ingenious attempts to do what was possible with the gaming processing power of the Nintendo console. The defining aspect of the game was the degree of difficulty that players encountered throughout their gaming experience of Punch-Out. Due to the limiting factors of gaming technology as mentioned, developers of Punch-Out decided to make the game to their own unique interpretations of difficulty for Little Rock when he fought against different opponents. The player would go through this series of opponents on through the progression of the game. The said opponents would become more and more difficult to fight against, as their movesets would become more and more difficult to counter against or even predict, as each opponent naturally fought differently. Mike Tyson was the final opponent that the player went up against, and due to the complexities of the game as mentioned further, even the most skilled players were sometimes not skilled enough to defeat Mike Tyson. Due to all of these reasons, Punch-Out was later considered to be one of the most difficult video games ever conceived of at the time. The difficulty was more than some could take, and there were complaints about the sheer difficulty that players experienced from the game, as there were equal amounts of praise for the difficulty and criticism for the difficulty. The game was later rebranded, and Mike Tyson was later removed as the final boxer that Little Mac could fight against, as the character was depicted in the game of Punch-Out known as Mr. Dream for just a short time, and was essentially a new pixelated head atop the recolored body of pixelated Mike Tyson due to the legalities for Nintendo. As in subsequent sequels of Punch-Out, the difficulty was lessened to be more bearable for future players.